Up next, though, is sad news for anyone who followed WCW in the late 90s, because there was a wacky character on TV which kind of came out of a real life situation, and that is Judy Bagwell. Judy Bagwell, the mum of Buff Bagwell. You can see her there as a WCW Tag Team Champion. Buff had said, "It's with a heavy heart we must announce that this past Friday, the matriarch of the Bagwell family had passed away. Judy Bagwell was blessed with 3 amazing children, a loving husband, and so many great memories over the years. Thank you to everyone that has asked about her." And Finn, I mean, I guess the thing, some people might not be aware of it, but part of the reason that she ended up even kind of being a character was because she ended up backstage kind of phoning the office for Buff, and she ended up, complaining for him. Jim Ross has famously said they had to tell Buff Bagwell, "Can you stop your mum calling the office?" So Judy was a bit of a character.
Well, you could say that, yeah. I mean, obviously really sad. She was 78. She'd had dementia for a while. Which is obviously a terrible illness, terrible disease. I think we first saw her in 1999. My first memory of her, I think, was she was at ringside for the Buff Bagwell Roddy Piper boxing match, which was at was it the Bash at the Beach 99? I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was the corner person, and Flair was in Roddy Piper's corner. And we saw her a few more times. They said she was WCW World Tag Team Champion, but I don't think she was ever officially recognised as such. I guess her most infamous appearance was at the truly abysmal New Blood Rising pay-per-view in August of 2000. I mean, this was the show on which you knew it was over for WCW. There was no coming back. This was the point of no return. The irony is New Blood Rising, and by then, the New Blood faction had been harpooned and gutted, and its remains thrown in the sea. So there was the famous Judy Bagwell on a pole match between Buff Bagwell and Canyon, which was like this piss take out of pro wrestling. I mean, the whole thing was just like, what is this? And it was just one of those nights where you're just watching it and you're thinking, this company is mocking me for being a fan of this product. And ergo, I'm not going to be a fan of this product anymore. Obviously, I had to continue writing about it. But I mean, so many fans were driven off by matches like that. So yeah, Judy Bagwell was part of WCW. I mean, I don't really think any WCW fan would really have any fond memories of her participation in WCW. But I mean, obviously, really sad that she's gone, and she last, months or years of her life were blighted by dementia. So, she was just a part-time player who I don't really think added much to the product, if I'm honest. What's your memories of her, Kenny?
I do love there, Finn, that you absolutely destroyed what she was involved in, and then right at the end went, "Are you really sad that she's not with us anymore?" But I mean, the irony of the New Blood Rising thing is that it was Judy Bagwell on a pole, but you couldn't put her on a pole, so she was on a forklift.
Forklift, yeah.
But it was on a pole, which was... Now, I think the tag team champion thing came from that Rick Steiner was tag team champion, and I guess it was supposed to be with Buff Bagwell, and then he got injured, so she ended up taking... But she never wrestled. She did wrestle later on. But yeah, it was Judy Bagwell. I mean, I think because I wasn't really a big WCW fan, I can kind of appreciate her more, because like I watched Bash at the Beach with KJ and Ollie earlier this year, last year, whenever it was, and I was thoroughly entertained by Judy Bagwell and Ric Flair working together as corner people. I mean, I'd take that over a lot of current day stuff. So Judy was maybe ahead of her time. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, when I say it's sad that she's passed away, obviously, for the family. I mean, we haven't seen her for over 20 years. And yeah, you mentioned earlier about when Bagwell was briefly involved in WWF in 2001. As the story goes, it was the phone calls from Judy to the office that basically secured Buff's fate. And one of the many, he had so much heat on him, they weren't happy with his performances. There was an incident in a training school between him and the WWF where they were working out. There was an incident between him and Shane Helms, who became the Hurricane. They had like a fight or something. And then apparently Judy was ringing up every 5 minutes and pestering people in the office. So, I mean, as I understand it, she basically expedited Bagwell's exit from WWF.
And for that, we should be happy that Judy took away that hardship that we would have had to endure.
Well, that's it. There might be more matches like Buff versus Booker T at the famous July 2nd, 2001 Raw Stroke Nitro. One of the worst matches of the year. And had Judy not rang up the office every 15 minutes or whatever it was, apparently it was repeatedly, and the office had just had enough of her. Had she not done that, Buff might have wrestled another match on TV. So we can be thankful for you. Yeah, she did us all a favour, didn't she? Getting her son fired from that company.